I'll never forget the way those people looked at me that day, like I'd just dragged mud across their marble floor, like I didn't belong on the same planet, let alone their driveway. The weight on my back wasn't the old rucksack slung over my shoulder. It was everything I'd given up to get here. The house, the savings, the car, all gone so I could stand there holding my daughter's hand. Layla was only 10, quiet in a way no child should be quiet, wearing a dress that fit like it belonged to someone else. She didn't ask why we were here, didn't ask about the stares or the smirks from her mother's family gathered under the canopy. She just squeezed my hand like she knew I needed it. Catherine didn't stand to greet us. She didn't even blink. "You're early," she said, smiling like a woman in a perfume ad, syrup sweet and rotten underneath. I set the manila envelope on the table in front of her, the court order granting me full custody. I'd given her everything else, but not my daughter. The whispers started before we made it back to the gate. Someone laughed about that dump on the hill I'd inherited. Another said, "He's really going to raise her there?" We walked past them without a word, just two sets of footsteps on polished stone, heading for a beat-up pickup that didn't belong in that cul-de-sac. By the time we got home, if you could call it that, the clip was already online. The internet had decided I was a pathetic father stealing his daughter from a life of privilege. The road to the house was long, narrow, overgrown. The kind of place you'd expect to find a body, not a future. When we crested the last hill, there it was, or what was left of it. The Hale Manor sagged under its own weight, windows broken, roof warped, ivy choking the porch. Inside smelled like rot and regret. No electricity, no running water. Just the sound of rain against the boarded windows. I lit a fire from a broken chair and told Layla, "This is home now." She didn't answer. The next day, we started cleaning. We're trying to. Most rooms were unlivable, mold climbing the walls, ceilings caving in. But there was a library, big as a ballroom, with shelves that somehow still held books. Layla found a copy of Treasure Island and hugged it like a lost pet. I found something else, a draft coming from a seam between two bookshelves. We didn't open it that day, not until a week later. When the house had started shifting, doors moving on their own, soft knocks in the night. That seam in the library finally gave way under my hand, revealing a staircase into the dark. The basement wasn't just a basement. It was a vault. Trunks, ledgers, maps with red X's marking places in the house. 3 keys hidden in 3 impossible places, behind a painting, under a loose attic floorboard, inside a hollow stair post. When we found the last one and unlocked the hatch, the chest inside nearly stopped my heart. Gold bars, antique coins, stock certificates worth more than anything Catherine's family had ever flaunted. On top, a letter in careful handwriting. "You stayed. That is enough. We swore to keep it secret." But secrets have a way of slipping loose. A black SUV crawled up the drive one morning, and there she was, Catherine, with a lawyer in tow. "I heard you made a discovery," she said, eyes cold as the wind. Within weeks, reporters, inspectors, child services, they all came. The judge ordered Layla back to her mother until a review could be held. She didn't cry when she left. That hurt more than anything. The house was hollow without her. I dug through records, called in favors, found proof Catherine had lied, that she'd ignored her daughter until the gold surfaced. Even got a letter from the town's retired librarian, a bundle of Edmund Hale's old papers, including one that read like it had been written for me. Legacy isn't in gold. It's in staying. In choosing love over comfort. In court, Catherine's lawyers painted me as unstable, unfit. They showed photos of the house before we touched it, hinted the treasure was dangerous. Catherine cried in all the right places. Then I stood, no tie, no performance, and told the truth about the house, the journals, the keys. I gave the judge the note Layla had left me. "Dad is my home." That was the moment it turned. Full custody granted. Catherine's face didn't move, but I felt the fight leave the room. When Layla ran into my arms outside the courthouse, the world went quiet. We drove back to the house. Our house, through melting snow and soft mud. She stood in front of it for a long time before taking my hand and saying, "We're home." We rebuilt in peace after that. Painted the hallway green. Planted sunflowers by the fence because she said the house looked like it needed something to smile about. We never touched the gold again. It stayed in its hiding place, a reminder, not a temptation. Then one spring afternoon a letter arrived, no return address. Inside was a photograph of a young Edmund with a dark-skinned woman and a child, standing in front of the house when it was whole. On the back, Edmund, Ruth, and Micah, 1952. The letter said Edmund had been cast out for loving the wrong person in the wrong time, that the house was his refuge. Not by blood, but by something deeper, it read. I hope this reaches you in peace. That night I put the photo and the letter in the trunk, on top of the gold. When I came upstairs, Layla was painting the last patch of hallway. I think the house likes us now, she said. I told her, it always did. Sometimes we sit on the porch at sunset, watching the sunflowers tilt toward the last light. She leans against me, and the house creaks like it's settling deeper into the hill. I used to think Edmund left me gold. Now I know he left me something harder to find and harder to lose. The proof that staying, really staying, can change everything. So you tell me, what's worth more? The treasure in the floor, or the kind you can't spend? Yeah, that's the part people never agree on. You ever notice how peace doesn't last as long as you think it will? We'd been in this rhythm, mornings in the garden, afternoons fixing something in the house, evenings on the porch, long enough for me to start thinking maybe the world had forgotten about us. Then one morning, the mail brought something that made my stomach drop. It was a plain white envelope, no return address, same slanted handwriting as the letter about Edmund and Ruth. Inside was a single photograph, black and white, edges curling, of the house, but not from the front. This was taken from the woods, the angle just wide enough to catch the top floor windows, like someone had been watching. On the back, 3 words, don't trust them. I didn't tell Layla right away. Instead, I walked the property line, checking for tracks. The spring thaw had turned the ground to soft mud, and near the tree lean. I found them, fresh boot prints, not mine. That night, as we ate soup in the library, I caught her looking at me. You're different, she said. You've been listening more than talking. She wasn't wrong. The house had gone quiet in a way I didn't like. Not the comfortable quiet we'd grown used to, but the kind where you feel like you're sharing the room with someone you can't see. The next day, I went down into the vault. The trunk was exactly where I'd left it, the gold untouched, but on top of the photograph of Edmund and Ruth was a new scrap of paper, torn from a spiral notebook. Same handwriting as the photo's warning, there's more. Over the next week, little things started to happen. A locked door on the second floor was suddenly ajar one morning. A book from Edmund's journals, the one about the 3 keys, was sitting on my workbench even though I'd left it in the library. Then one evening, the radio in the kitchen came on by itself, static hissing until a voice cut through for just 2 words, find it. Layla was the one who finally asked, what if there's another vault? She said it like she'd been turning the thought over for a while. And once she said it, I couldn't shake it. We started searching again, but this time not for gold. We followed clues in Edmund's journals that I'd skimmed before, notes about the second heart and what lies under the oldest root. It led us outside, to the giant oak at the edge of the property. Half a day of digging later, the shovel hit something hard, an old iron box, rusted but still sealed. Inside was no treasure, at least not in the way Catherine's family would care about. It was full of letters, hundreds of them, between Edmund and Ruth, spanning decades. Letters that told the truth about why he shut himself away, what the family had done to them. And a map that showed the land extending far beyond what the county records claimed. It wasn't money. It was something more dangerous, proof. Proof that could undo everything the Hale family had built its reputation on. Proof they'd never want the world to see. I knew right then, the fight wasn't over.